So, I ditched my 16-inch MacBook Pro for an M1 13-inch baseline model. The question is, did I make a mistake? In this video, I will share with you the potential downsides from this move of mine, all the sacrifices that I have to deal with, solutions for those downsides, my expectations, and of course, hopes. The big question for me is if I would be able to stick with the 13-inch M1 MacBook Pro or switch back to the 16-inch Intel down the road. The purpose of this video and the follow-up episodes is to try and answer your questions and address your concerns, because this is the first time when many people can actually afford to jump on the previously unobtainable professional grade machines. Hey guys, this is E, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Iskren and most people call me E, and my very first impressions of unboxing and observing this laptop were nothing new, since all the magic in this machine is under the hood. The shell, design and screen are something that most of you are familiar with. One new thing here is the latest generation keyboard, the return of the escape key and the properly positioned arrow keys. The machine that I have here is the entry-level MacBook Pro M1 with 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. One very important thing to note here is that this laptop has only two USB-C Thunderbolt ports, which, as you can expect, will be an alarming problem when I try to integrate it as my one and only video editing laptop. The lack of additional ports brings me to the downsides that worry me the most. One of my concerns is being able to utilize the two ports to hook up a monitor, run power, use a media reader to dump all my video files from the cameras, run audio, and most importantly, use an external SSD to work off of, on top of which have access to my backup drives. Perhaps this is a good time to mention that those M1 machines can only run a single monitor, meaning dual monitor setup is not an option unless you use the laptop's display as a secondary, or perhaps use Sidecar to run a second display on an iPad. The second concern for me is that I could only get my hands on the 8GB of RAM model and not the 16, which for my line of work and judging from all the reviews out there is a must, especially when dealing with heavy 4K footage, effects, LUTs, and so forth. Given my location and trying to stay on a budget were the primary reasons to try and stick with this baseline option. But the good thing for you, the viewer, the potential buyer, the person on a budget, is that you'll get to see how far we can push this little guy. Concern number 3 is the architecture and compatibility. Apple and developers are quick to optimize for the new chip architecture, but I'm still worried whether or not essential apps for me will run as advertised and as smoothly as expected. On the other hand, having the option to run iOS apps and games sounds very tempting. Now, switching from my maxed out 16-inch Intel MacBook Pro definitely gives me some anxiety. One reason for that is because I purchased that beast a week before the M1 announcement, and I still honestly have regrets. So my situation is split. Since I made the M1 investment too, I really want that tiny laptop to fail my tests and disappoint me, but at the same time I want it to excel as expected. The direct and obvious downsides here are the fact that I'm getting a much smaller display with some silly large bezels. Also, I'm losing 50% of my ports while sacrificing on internal sound because, let's be honest, the 16-inch MacBook Pro is truly one of the best sounding laptops out there. In the meantime, I'm getting a much more portable laptop with a battery life that should blow my mind, a cool performance and sharpness I have only seen on the iPads. See, the 16-inch MacBook Pro is great to work on as a standalone computer, not plugged into a desk setup. But more often than not, I prefer having the laptop docked for two reasons: battery and heat. Intel MacBooks tend to burn my legs when I video edit, and the most I could get under heavy load is perhaps 3.5 hours of battery life. These reasons alone always makes me station the laptop on my desk. The M1 in the meantime is expected to run countless hours without any heat issues. Another sacrifice that I make is dongles and external storage. I have to organize my workflow to a point where 256GB of storage is enough for everything that I do, and then keep external fast storage always available for when I need to jump into video creation. Just as a perspective, my usual talking head, the one that you see right now, is between 50 and 80 gigabytes. I have a suspicion, however, that this won't be that much of a problem because with the big laptop I have to always carry my charger, and with the M1 I will be compensating with a much smaller and lighter laptop and perhaps just a single portable SSD. With that being said, to be able to fully replace my 16-inch MacBook Pro first, I need to do some house cleaning. Thankfully, I have thought this through years ago and I actually have a video about it. How I use iCloud to manage my entire life, and I'll leave a link in the description in case you're interested in watching it. In a nutshell, my digital life is basically on iCloud, and on any new computer, all I care about are the apps that I need to install, with maybe a bit of tweaking like digital signatures and so forth. So now I'm left with a very little work, most of which are temp files around my downloads folder. Second, I made an order for a very popular external SSD 2TB, which I'm waiting to arrive. I did some tests using a regular, not so fast SSD, and surprisingly it works quite good if I have to work off of it. But a fast SSD like 1000 megabits is definitely a better solution. Finally, I need to come up with a decent Thunderbolt dock for my desk, one which can run all my gear, monitor, speakers, act as a hub and a reader at the same time. My hopes are that this M1 machine will truly surprise me and give me a glimpse as to what we can expect from Apple. I've always liked the 13-inch versions of the company's laptops, but my line of work has always kept me from downsizing. For the first time in years, I might be able to stick with a much more portable machine and not feel that I have made a huge compromise. As I stated in the beginning, the biggest question for me is if I would be able to stick with this 13-inch MacBook M1 or switch back to the 16-inch down the line. For that purpose, in the next month and more, I will be reporting my journey to you and truly showcase what this M1 is capable of. I've already created a list of bugs that I have stumbled upon in my short time with this laptop, and I'm expanding it as we go. Also, I'm close to finishing my desk setup that should be able to tackle all the downsides mentioned earlier. We will be talking and showcasing great accessories for M1 owners. We will do live video edits, gaming and so forth. So perhaps, if you're new to the channel, now would be a good time to subscribe and click on the bell icon for when those episodes come out. So tell me, are you planning on purchasing an M1 machine? If yes, what would you be using it for? And which M1 are you shortlisting? As always, it's been an absolute pleasure. This is Z, over and out.